Suppose this is a Docker and these are the containers running inside the Docker. For example, this container is an application of MariaDB, or this is a MySQL container, and this is Nginx web server container, and this is your portainer, and suppose this is a your Nginx proxy manager. So you can run as many as other application inside the containers. These containers will be isolated with each other. If anything goes here, it will not affect the core file of another container. So you can just stop it and pull a new container of the same version from the Docker Hub. It will start running again. So it's that much easy. So you can run multiple connected containers in a stack also. For example, these three containers are as a services of a web server. So the first one can be your web server, and the second one is your for suppose WordPress files, and the third one is your web server DB, and these are connected with each other via internal network. So the internal network will not affect other containers. So you can also make other group of stuff also. For example, these 4 containers as a other group of services running interdependently with each other. So for example, if you want to connect these containers, these 2 group of containers, the 4 one and these the web server one, you can also assign a simple load balancer service. So it will just simply switch between these 2 step of group of the containers. Okay, so this is the Docker. Let's install the Docker. For Docker to work on Windows, we need WSL. WSL is a Windows subsystem for Linux. We are going to use manual install step for older version. Enable the Windows subsystem for Linux. For that, this is the command. You just have to copy it and paste it here. It will download the necessary tools required for the WSL to work. There are multiple steps here. Your computer may restart couple of times, so don't be panic. Run it, just copy it and run it here. Set WSL2 as your default. So copy this command and paste it here. It will make WSL2 as your default WSL. Let's download the Docker. So for that, just search download the Docker. It's here, Docker desktop. We are going to use it. So just click on Windows. As you can see, we are using Windows as our operating system. It's going to be downloaded here. So I can cancel it because I've already downloaded it. Double click on your Docker file, and then it will ask for the privilege command. So wait a couple of time, click yes, and then the Docker installation process will begin. This is Docker desktop. It is initializing, verifying packages. It will take some time. Okay, configuration is WSL2 instance Hyper-V. So you must tick it. The Docker is installed. Okay, let's close it and launch the Docker. So this is the Docker. These are the left options for the Docker. First one is container. It will contain all your containers. Here you will see all your downloaded images. The volume contain your persistent volume. So this is my Nginx web server directory. Here you can see Docker compose file I have made. So this is the services. First one is DB, second one is WordPress, third one is web server Nginx, fourth one is PHPMyAdmin. For the database, I am using MySQL 8.0, and for the WordPress, I am using PHP Alpine version. And for the web server, I am using Nginx Alpine, and for phpMyAdmin, I am using their phpMyAdmin images. You can see all of these containers are attached with the app network. This is the internal app network. So the DB services is running on internal port 3306, so the WordPress, and the web server is also running on port 80 internally and port 8001 as external port. So phpMyAdmin is also on port 80 and port 8080 as external. You can see I have made some persistent volume also. For the database, I am using db data as name, and this is the location. So this is not going to be removed after the next reboot of the container, same as for the WordPress. And for the web server, I am using a configuration file which is saved as config.d. And for the ini uploads.ini, I am using this file to increase the size of the for example, if you want to import that backup of your website, so it will increase the file size to 2 GB. So this is the volumes, and this is the internal network, and I'm also using environment.env file to save the username and password of the database. So this is my file, Docker Compose file, and this is the Nginx file, Nginx configuration file. So I'm using server name as this dash, so you can change it to any. So this will cache all the server name, and uploads.ini file is this, so the environment variable file, and this is just for ignoring the file, docker ignore. So this is my directory. Just copy this path here, and I'm going to run a terminal or PowerShell. You can do whatever you like. Just run it as administrator. Click yes, and then go to the directory of the Nginx web server location where your docker.yml file exists. cd into this current directory. cd means, so run the docker compose file. So to run it, just write docker compose up. It will download all your images. If you have already downloaded it, then it will just run it. So as you can see on the right, this is the stack. So in a stack, I am using 4 images. The database is active, and it's pulling now the WordPress, phpMyAdmin, and web server. So these are the images on the Nginx web server stack. Our database is still running, so we will wait a while. So the database is ready. Now we will go localhost on port 8001. As you can see, our web server is running on port 8001, so we are calling it. So this is the installation sequence of the WordPress, and for the phpMyAdmin, our port is 8080. For that, localhost 8080, you can run it on the localhost. As you can see on the background, it is running this command, and all your database and WordPress is here. So this is localhost for phpMyAdmin, and this is for your WordPress. To install the WordPress, just click on continue and username or password. Just run admin. So I'm using admin, so you must change your username or password. So confirm password, and this is test@admin.com for the test purposes. Okay, install WordPress. It will take some time. Okay, it's running. Let's wait for some couple of seconds. Okay, it's launched. Now log in with your default username or password which you have recently made, and click on login. It will take some time first time. So it's here. You can also visit this site with localhost and port number 8001. So this WordPress site is running on our Docker setup, and thank you for watching this video.